Hello. The title of today's video is Why Jordan Peterson Backed Out of Debating Richard Wolff. So this is something I didn't know about until about 6 months ago, and this is actually something that happened 6 years ago. But I thought it was a good supplement to the stuff I've been trying to explain to people about how the culture war is manufactured and everything's basically a grift. So it turns out that Professor Richard Wolff is a Ivy League educated economist. His education started at Harvard, then he was also at Yale, and then he finished at Stanford. And so he's an economist with an Ivy League background, but he's also a Hegelian Marxist. And 6 years ago, he got a phone call from Boise State University in, I think it's Idaho or Illinois, I forget. But Boise State University called him and said, we're having a Jordan Peterson Appreciation Day. Jordan Peterson, of course, he says, no Marxist dares to debate him. We were wondering if you'd be willing to come and debate him. And, Richard Wolff found it an amusing challenge. And was like absolutely, I'm in. So he agreed to it, and it was all set up. A few months went by, time was approaching. He gets a phone call from Boise State University, and they told him, we're sorry, Dr. Peterson has pulled out. He says, well, we can't match his or meet his speaking fee. And Professor Wolff said, well, what do you mean? Because up until this point, there had been no mention of money. And they said, well, Jordan Peterson, he wants $50,000 for a speaking fee appearance now. So they're a public university in the States, not a private school, so they couldn't afford that, of course, and so they had to bail out. And so it just seemed like a very convenient way for Peterson to pull out once he realized he would have had to actually debate Richard Wolff. And so Richard Wolff, being a kind guy, actually, I believe, went to their school anyway to talk to them, and then later commented on it. And so I thought that was really interesting because, part of the marketing of Peterson's appeal back then was that he was, such an intellectual powerhouse that no Marxist would dare debate him. This is all bullshit, And it's interesting because some stuff did go back and forth on YouTube with Peterson responding to a critique that Richard Wolff have made of him. I'll put links in the description. But you'll see that they rely on the person watching not actually understanding Marxism, and that's why Peterson is an absolute fraud, because his target audience that he makes money from are people who don't know what Marxism really is. And I'm guilty of this, and I'm 100% like taking responsibility for it and admitting it, and just I'm embarrassed about it. But I was like preemptively steered away from actually properly understanding Marx and studying Marx because I was listening to people like Jordan Peterson who were so confident and in what they were saying, and their responses seemed like such strong arguments. But they only seemed like strong arguments because the way things were being framed to me made sense without me not understanding what Marxism really was. And it's absolutely true that he just, keeps recycling talking points about, the USSR and Stalinism, and preventing people from really understanding like what Marxism is and what's going on today and stuff like that. So only now, after years later, when I had developed a much better understanding of things, I look back and see how obvious a grift it is. But it's not obvious for when people are younger. So Jordan Peterson is a fraud, or he's just completely incompetent because he's an anti-Marxist who basically doesn't understand Marx. And if you study Marx and grow to understand it, you will listen to him talk and you'll know what I mean. Most people, when I'm talking to a lot of people now, I guess not most people, but a lot of people I talk to, they just preemptively shut down a lot of the stuff I'm saying with talking points that I can seem to me almost for sure like they've just been listening to Jordan Peterson debates and can't actually elaborate on it. And as someone who's been in like controversy because of a photo I took with Jordan Peterson that was even in like the national news, and someone who's been invited to speak at an event before him and stuff, like I was looking back on it all now, it's just interesting to see how obvious the whole grift is. But I encourage everyone to just study this stuff if you have an interest in it directly, instead of just listen to other people critique stuff. Like if you want everything you want to understand, if you want to understand like Marxism, for example, read the source text, but don't read it in isolation. Try to get a guide to help you understand what you're reading. But yeah, just be aware that all of this culture war stuff, it's just one big capitalist grift. And I thought you guys would find it interesting that Peterson conveniently won't actually debate any real Marxists, except for that Zizek debate, I guess, which I can make a whole other video about that. but the way he pulled out of the debate with Richard Wolff is pretty telling in my opinion. So thanks guys, I'll see you in the next video.